Yo, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another road trip edition, Hobby of Hours episode. Heading back from Jersey. And today's episode, I'm going to kick off a new series called In and Out. Not the In and Out burger chain, although I could totally go for an In and Out burger. Miss you, West Coast. But it'll be about watches that are in and out of the collection, in and out of possession rather quickly. Whether took a chance on something, took a runner, something come in, just didn't appeal or whatever, just trying to experience the watch. Or more likely, a watch that came in not as described, whether physical condition or performance. On my wrist today is not the watch that will be the subject of this episode, but this is a Zodiac, mid-90s Zodiac red dot chronograph. A pretty cool piece come in. I'm actually going to do an episode on this and another Zodiac that I have, Zodiac Root Beer GMT. That piece is a quartz piece. This is a automatic Valjoux 7750. Speaking of which, I need to come up with a short nickname for that movement. I talk a lot about that movement because I like chronographs. It's a popular movement, but Valjoux 7750 takes forever to say. So I'm thinking like Val Fitty or VJ Fitty or just Fitty. Drop me a comment. Let me know if I'm being an idiot or if we should come up with an abbreviation for that. I also talk about the Lemania 5100 movement a lot. So maybe this could be Fitty and that one could be Lemmy or Fitty 1. And then we would know what we're talking about whenever I use my shortcut names. So, the watch for today is the Omega Speedy reduced date. Yes, indeed. Holler back to G Money in that episode from LA where he and I were wondering about that watch. Maybe think we should start buying those in anticipation that it might be the next one to go up in value. So I bought one. I got it come in out of the JDM. And I gotta say, it is pretty gorgeous. There's some shortcomings and there's some reasons why it's going back to the JDM. And we're gonna get into that today. All right, why did I buy it? It's a good looking watch, and I just have the sense that is gonna skyrocket in value the way the other models I've been tracking have jumped up. It's a good looking dial, reverse panda. It's a great looking dial. And Garrett and I dubbed that the Speedy reduced date because of the dial layout, those minute markers plus a date. And we were a bit off. Actually, we were quite a bit off. This watch is, well, the regular, the reduced, all the ones we've reviewed, little montage, are basically two watches in one. There's the base caliber that is running the timing, and then there's a Depuis chronograph module put on top of it, sandwiched inside that case. Meaning the watch the movement didn't start its life to be a chronograph. And that's why those can be expensive to service, because you're practically servicing two watches at that point. This one has a Val Fitty in it, modified, and I didn't even know that. I should have known it based on the dial layout and so forth. And took it apart to look at it and realized, oh wow, that's what's in here? I should have known, but I didn't. And that's why I discovered, you know what, this doesn't have a whole lot in common with reduced. the regular reduced, other than the dial layout of the minute marker numbers, I mean. So it's kind of its own little beast. And this one came in pretty good shape. I got it for like 14 and change, but with tax and shipping, or tax and import, it's like mid 15, almost 16. And if I keep it, it will be $2,000 because it needs a service. So put it on my time grapher, and it was running a little bit rough. I needed regulated, so I regulated it. But the amplitude, you cannot self-adjust the amplitude. It was coming in, I think, around 170-ish. It needs to be 270 and above. You don't want it too high, but anything between 270 and 315-ish is healthy, meaning that it's performing, it's going back and forth. That degree of that arc is healthy. 170, way too low. I sent it to my watchmaker to see if it was something simple. He wrote me back. He's like, no, it needs a service. And the service cost was going to be reasonable, $400. I'm good with that cost on a watch that I'm planning to keep. Not a watch I was buying to make a little bit of money on. I was planning on storing that watch and flipping it in a year, maybe make $800 or something like that. So, wrote the seller. It's a seller I do a lot of business with out of the JDM, and they're cool. Just so happens that, when you do something like this, they paid shipping to me because they advertised it as running great, and it's not. The return is mandatory, and they will have to pay for the return shipping. But yours truly is getting stuck with the custom fees from DHL. Thank you, DHL. And I don't know why I have to pay local sales tax and DHL customs duty. I understand having to pay DHL and clearance, but it feels like I'm getting double taxation without representation, total tyranny, and it's very off-putting. I think it's like $65, $70, which is a lot for a watch I'm not going to get to keep. You gotta bite the bullet sometimes, so that's what I'm doing on this. It was definitely worth it to experience the watch. You can't find these laying around. The irony is, I was in Philadelphia this weekend and I got to see one in person at one of the stores out there. So I did get to experience it, and I'm going to get to shoot it for this video. So I'm getting some value out of my $70 payment. I called DHL, and they used to help you get those figures refunded, because basically you have to go to the government, and they pretty much stopped doing that. And I would have to contract with a customs broker to get that money refunded. If it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars, if it was thousands of dollars, certainly, but not for $60. Although I do work with a customs broker for my work. I may inquire of them as to how to handle that. They're in Canada though, so I need the JDM to the USA customs fix. So a little disappointing, but having it in the flesh, it looks good on the bracelet. It looks fabulous on the strap. Absolutely wonderful on the strap, and it's not too high, sits about right. If I want to nitpick, it's going to be about that crown. It's octagonal, and having those flat surfaces does not help with the winding, because it winds rough. And when I say rough, I don't mean rough feeling. I mean, you got to get up in there to get your wind on. And funny enough, that also happened on a different Speedmaster, somewhat adjacent to this line. It was a triple calendar. Same principle. I had to get my nails up in there to, kind of pincer that crown in order to wind it. because I just couldn't get it winding with my my finger meat. It was kind of a chore. That was a beautiful watch, though. Rather miss that from time to time. Gorgeous shade of blue. This dial, though, kind of a pale gray. Kind of interesting looking. Would I own it to own it? I would not. Mostly because I have other Speedmasters that I prefer. If I didn't have any Speedmasters, absolutely. But it would just be too redundant with the other watches I have that I'm definitely not looking to part with. I really like them. I like having them in the collection. Might have to do a Speedy roundtable someday. That might be cool. I'm glad I got this watch. I'm so glad I have my watchmaker. Shout out to my main man, Joe. Get a watchmaker. If you're in this hobby for the long term, if you like buying used watches, which you should because it's best pricing, find a local watchmaker or a non-local watchmaker. Finding a watchmaker is like finding a mechanic you can trust with your car. A mechanic you can trust with your car is worth their weight in gold. Same thing goes with a watchmaker. And I've been through a couple other ones that were turkeys, like proper not good. Muy no bueno. One of them was just a hack and really did a number on one of my watches. The other one was ridiculously overpriced, and I didn't know it at the time, but just preposterous. But my new watchmaker, love him. Great guy, smart, knowledgeable, and fair. Overly fair even, super duper fair. And just super happy. So, if you're going to buy watches, if you're going to buy used watches, get you a watchmaker. Val Fitty, BJ Fitty, even 7750 feels stupid to say. I think I'm going to go with Val Fitty. I don't know, I need to start like a YouTube poll on this. Val Fitty, BJ Fitty. I don't want to get any copyright infringement from 50 cents if I start calling this a Fitty. Good watch, though. I am going to keep hunting them. I am going to get one, and I am going to hold on to it for a year. Maybe I'll do a holoback video, God willing, in a year after I buy it for... I want to get into this watch for $1,500 total. And there actually is one on eBay right now. It's on strap for like $1,350, and no, you need the bracelet. It's a nice bracelet. It's not a super nice bracelet, but it's that older style 90s Omega push close pressed clasp type. Always buying bracelet. Always buying bracelet. Yeah, I'm going to keep hunting it. I went in thinking, this was 14 and change. I think we'll call it $1,450. Tax and DHL got me on this one. And now that I'm out of pocket, $75 for DHL customs fees on this one, I'm going to want to get that off of the next one. I'm a nut. Probably won't happen. I'll have to make it up on the back end. As they say, you make your money when you buy the watch, not when you sell it. So get in good, and buy right. All right, let's take a close-up of this watch and see what we got going up in there. Here we have the Speedmaster reduced date or thereabouts in the metal, in the flesh. Pretty gorgeous. It's up against an Omega book. This particular entry in the book is the Albertville, a special edition, limited 500, but it's same layout, same look, all that jazz. So seemed an appropriate backdrop as we take a look at this. Let's throw up the measurements here. Have us look at those. I gotta say, it wears pretty great. I am so glad I purchased this watch to experience it. And other than this octagonal crown, I gotta say, it's pretty awesome. Pretty good. This bracelet, stamped clasp for the period, not fabulous. This particular example has got the inking worn out of there, very common for the period. This is early 90s. Plenty of adjustments. These can grab wrist hair. You got to be careful. Some don't, some do. Just depends. And Valjoux 7750. Valfitty. Can't beat it. It's not bad on the height, I gotta say. If this was to be your first Speedmaster, I'd say why not. On my 6.5-inch wrist, it's a great looking watch. And it is still affordable. North of $1,500 probably, get it under $2,000. Full kit. Make sure you look at the bezels when you're looking at these used examples. And also the handset, particularly the loom. I've noticed that on a lot of the used ones out there, there's some sort of dirt or grime on the loom of the hands. You want to try and avoid that, because the only way to solve that is a hand swap, and you won't have to do that. Gorgeous. Omega Speedy reduced date with a Val Fitty, with a VJ Fitty. The movement inside, it's a Fitty. Yeah, check this watch out. If you're in the market for a Speedmaster, if you're looking for your first Speedmaster, actually, you know what? Pronouncing it, this would be an excellent first Speedmaster. Maybe it isn't one you hold on to for life. Maybe it's one you buy and you hold on to it. With me, we can hold each other at this watch for a year, see if we can make some money, have some fun with this hobby of ours. That sounds pretty good to me. All right, have yourself a great one, and we will catch you on the flip side.